Nobody wakes up planning to stay broke. Most people do everything they're told is right. They go to school, they get a job, they work harder when money feels tight, and yet, year after year, nothing really changes. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. Getting rich isn't blocked by laziness or lack of effort. It's blocked by a system of habits and decisions that quietly keeps people in place while making them feel productive. From the outside, it looks like progress, promotions, raises, better titles. But behind the scenes, the math barely moves. Every increase in income is matched by a new expense. Every win is neutralized before it can compound. And because this trap feels normal, because everyone around you is doing the same thing, most people never question it. They assume the problem is personal, that they need to work harder, save more, sacrifice longer. What nobody shows you is that this mindset is exactly why most people never get rich. Not because they fail, but because they're playing a game designed to keep them busy, not free. The biggest mistake most people make isn't spending too much money. It's believing income is the solution. From the moment someone starts working, their entire financial life revolves around one number: their paycheck. How to increase it, how to protect it, how to stretch it. Everything depends on that single stream. But here's what nobody shows you. A paycheck is the weakest form of wealth. It only exists if you keep showing up. It stops the moment you slow down, get sick, or step away. And worse, it trains your brain to think short-term, monthly, urgent, survival-based. So instead of asking, how do I build assets? Most people ask, how do I afford this? That small shift changes everything. When income rises, spending quietly rises with it. A slightly better apartment, a newer car, more convenience. Not because people are reckless, but because life expands to fill whatever money is available. This is why most people feel stuck even as they earn more than they ever have before. They're running faster, on the same treadmill. And as long as money only comes from time, freedom never enters the picture. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. The system doesn't reward effort. It rewards positioning. You can be disciplined, responsible, hardworking. You can save every month, avoid dumb purchases, and follow all the safe advice, and still end up exactly where you started. Because the game most people are playing is designed around consumption, not ownership. Think about how life is structured. You're taught to get a stable job, pay your bills on time, avoid risk, and be grateful. And on the surface, that sounds smart, responsible, mature. But what it actually does is lock you into a loop where every dollar you earn already has a destination before it reaches you. Rent, insurance, subscriptions, taxes, debt. Your money doesn't wait around long enough to become anything else. Meanwhile, the people who break out aren't necessarily smarter or harder working. They simply learned something early. Wealth is built in the gaps between paychecks, not inside them. While most people optimize their lifestyle, others optimize their leverage. They put money into things that grow without their constant attention. Things that don't care how many hours they work that week. And here's the part nobody shows on social media. At first it feels slow, unrewarding, almost pointless, because building assets doesn't give immediate relief the way spending does. So most people quit before anything changes. They return to what feels productive, working more, budgeting harder, cutting joy, without realizing they're just perfecting a system that can never make them free. This is where the divide really forms, and why most people never cross it. At some point, usually after years of doing everything right, people start feeling tired in a way that rest doesn't fix. Not physically exhausted, but mentally worn down. They've been patient, consistent, responsible, and still, the finish line keeps moving. So they double down on what they know. They cut expenses harder, track every dollar, delay enjoyment, tell themselves freedom will come later, after the next raise, the next promotion, the next milestone. But here's what nobody shows you. Delaying life doesn't create wealth. It only creates endurance. The reason this strategy fails is simple. You're trying to escape a system using the same rules that built it. You're optimizing within the box, instead of questioning why the box exists at all. Wealth requires a different relationship with uncertainty. Most people are taught to avoid risk at all costs. But the truth is, the greatest risk is staying dependent on a single source of income that resets every month. That kind of safety feels comfortable, but it's fragile. The people, who eventually break free, make a shift that looks irresponsible from the outside. They stop optimizing for stability and start optimizing for optionality. They accept slower progress today in exchange for non-linear progress later. This doesn't mean gambling or chasing shortcuts. It means intentionally redirecting time, energy, and money into things that can grow without constant effort. Skills that scale, assets that compound, systems that don't reset when the calendar flips. And this is the part most people never see, because it's boring at first. There's no applause, no visible reward, just quiet consistency in a direction most people aren't willing to face, because it doesn't immediately make life easier. But this is the exact moment where the trajectory changes. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but permanently. The real reason most people never get rich isn't hidden knowledge, bad luck, or lack of intelligence. It's something far more subtle and far more common. They never stop playing a game that was only designed to help them survive. From the beginning, the system rewards predictability. Show up, get paid, spend carefully, repeat. And as long as that loop works well enough, there's no obvious reason to question it. Life feels stable, comfortable, manageable. But stability is not the same as progress. Wealth is built when effort stops being the main driver of results, when money, skills, or systems begin to work independently of your time. Most people never reach this stage because it requires a temporary step backward. Less comfort, less certainty, fewer guarantees, before momentum appears. And that's where the separation happens. Most people aren't unwilling to work hard. They're unwilling to sit in the awkward middle phase where results lag behind effort, where growth is invisible, where everyone else looks like they're doing better simply because they're consuming more. So they return to what feels safe, what feels productive, what gets praised. They stay busy, they stay responsible, they stay stuck. The people who eventually build real wealth don't have a secret advantage. They just make one quiet decision most people avoid. They stop optimizing for short-term relief and start optimizing for long-term leverage. That choice doesn't look impressive at first, but over time, it changes everything. And that's why most people will never get rich. Not because they can't, but because they never step out of the system long enough to let something else take its place.